U.S.-Canada tariff talks, Hassan meets with Canadian Prime Minister. Tariffs are tearing apart the fabric of U.S.-Canada trade, and New Hampshire communities are paying the price. Here's why this crisis demands immediate attention. U.S. Senator Maggie Hassan, Democrat, New Hampshire, crossed into Canada this week for urgent discussions about impending tariff hikes on Canadian imports. The Trump administration's planned increases target one of America's largest trading partners, threatening to escalate economic tensions. "We're already seeing real damage in New Hampshire's construction sector," reveals Josh Reep, president of Associated Builders and Contractors. Existing tariffs created uncertainty that's freezing future building projects. But here's where it gets controversial. These new tariffs could spike home building costs dramatically, since over 70% of New Hampshire's timber supply originates in Canadian mills. When initial tariffs hit earlier this year, they strained the vital U.S.-Canada partnership, a relationship Hassan and three fellow senators sought to repair during Monday's high-stakes meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Hassan emphasized mutual interests and historical cooperation, arguing both nations need stability. President Trump must reverse course. Yet White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt fired back with this contentious claim: Canada has been unreasonable in trade negotiations. And this is the part most people miss. Hassan counters that the administration ignores Canada's substantial concessions, stating, rather than acknowledging compromises, the president threatens more tariffs. The fallout extends beyond construction. New Hampshire's Seacoast region reports declining Canadian tourism since tariffs began. Tourism manager Hope Anderson pleads, "We're rolling out the welcome mat. Our message to Canadian visitors is simple: please keep coming." Now we turn to you. With livelihoods at stake and diplomacy crumbling, is the tariff strategy strengthening America, or sabotaging our closest alliance? Drop your perspective in the comments. President Trump's plan to hike tariffs on Canadian goods to 35%, a deepening rift. A seismic shift in trade relations is looming as President Donald Trump unveils plans to escalate tariffs on Canadian imports to an unprecedented 35%. This audacious move, announced via a letter to Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, marks a significant escalation from the initial 25% duties imposed in March. And this is just the beginning of the story. But here's where it gets controversial. Trump's rationale behind the hike revolves around pressuring Canada to address fentanyl smuggling, a contentious issue given the relatively minor scale of drug trafficking from the country. Moreover, Trump has aired grievances over the trade deficit with Canada, primarily attributed to U.S. oil purchases. This move could redefine the landscape of the long-standing alliance between the two nations. In his letter, Trump underscores that the fentanyl issue is merely the tip of the iceberg, highlighting Canada's many tariff and non-tariff policies and trade barriers as additional sore points. The new tariffs are set to take effect on August 1, setting the stage for a tumultuous period for the global economy. While the S&P 500 stock index has recently shown gains, suggesting some investors believe Trump might backtrack, early Friday saw a downturn in stock market futures, indicating growing investor unease. In response, Carney maintains Canada's commitment to forging a new trade framework with the U.S. and highlights progress in curbing fentanyl. Through the current trade negotiations with the United States, the Canadian government has steadfastly defended our workers and businesses, Carney asserts. Canada, America's second-largest trading partner, finds itself in the spotlight as Trump's primary target, unlike Mexico, which has faced similar tariffs but not the same level of public scrutiny. Carney's recent victory on a platform of "keeping elbows up" signals a shift toward strengthening ties with the European Union and the UK, as evidenced by his recent social media post featuring British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, hinting at the US's declining reliability under Trump's unpredictable tariff regime. However, a meeting between Trump and Carney in May was outwardly cordial, though Trump was unwavering in his stance on tariffs, stating, "just the way it is." Daniel Beeland, a political science professor at McGill University, cautions that Trump's actions complicate the prospects for a trade deal, underscoring the difficulty of negotiating with a U.S. president known for aggressive threats and perceived unreliability. Trump's tariff letters to 23 countries, including Brazil, have taken on a personal tone, particularly with Canada. The letters expose Trump's inability to conclude the numerous trade deals he had promised, leading to a 90-day negotiating window following the announcement of Liberation Day tariffs. However, Trump now suggests resetting rates with his letters, indicating that the baseline 10% tariff is fading. Amid escalating tensions, Trump has announced tentative trade frameworks with the UK, Vietnam, and China, although the latter still faces substantial tariffs. Talks with Canada were briefly suspended over the digital services tax targeting U.S. tech firms, but resumed upon Carney's withdrawal of the tax. Despite the current protection offered by the 2020 United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, a review scheduled for 2026 could herald further changes. The saga continues, leaving us to ponder, is this the dawn of a new era in North American trade relations? Or will the parties find common ground amidst the stormy seas of tariffs and countermeasures?